Welcome to the BEASTwriter Family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we have the honor and privilege to sit with Connie Carberg, the first NFL female scout. Again, this is a huge honor for us to have her on the show. She actually broke barriers. She actually was the one that, she's very humble. But Connie Carberg, thank you for joining us. We'd like to hear about your story, but thank you for hopping on the BEASTwriter Family show. It's an honor.
Listen, my pleasure, Ryan. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm happy to be here.
Everyone is excited. The comments that are rolling through, the majority of the fans is Niner fans, but we have all 32 fan bases, even Jets fans on here. So CJ Luke the Sports says this should be interesting. A guy called Ed said this is kind of cool. Tommy Huxley says, why is the Jets gear though? We're going to go ahead and talk about this.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I love it. I love it. You have nothing to be sorry about. We have all 32 fan bases here in the BEASTwriter Family. So let's go ahead and get to those questions. Obviously, Connie, you're the first NFL female scout. Let's get to that. Let's start there. How did you become the first NFL female? Like, where did that come about? Like, was that out of the blue, or how did that take place?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a long story because I had no idea that there were no women scouts. And this is back when I was about 13 years old. This is back in the early, the early 60s. My father and my uncle became the two team doctors for the New York Jets, Dr. James and Dr. Calvin Nicholas. I had always played sports, always was a tomboy, everything. But girls didn't play football or anything. We played, basketball, swimming, softball, the whole works. I figured I'd better start learning about it. So I did. I learned. I had an earth science teacher that came to the games with us. It taught me a lot of stuff. Walt Michaels, who was the defensive coordinator for Super Bowl III, who became eventually the Jets head coach. He was at our house all the time because he and my dad were really good friends. And I would learn. He would teach me while I was watching the games. And at that time, you had one game on a week. You had Keith Jackson announcing one of the games of the week on Saturday. You had Street and Smith magazine, and that's about it. But for some reason, I just started, and then getting to know the players. They would always be at the house. George Sauer was my tennis partner. Boozer lived there. I mean, everybody got together in those days. It was very, very casual and family-like. And so the more you know people, you can't help but root and get into it. So that's how it started liking football. And then I went from the senior year, we won the Super Bowl. And that was amazing. That was amazing to go down there, be at the Super Bowl. And I've known Namath since he was a rookie and everything. And so it was really exciting. After I graduated, I was making my own mock drafts. I don't even know how I started doing my own mock drafts and people I liked or didn't like. And I missed on some and I hit on some. And then I went to an all-girls college and played basketball. They didn't have scholarships, but I played. But something was missing. So I transferred to the Ohio State University. And that was my biggest, greatest move. Went there, when I got my sorority. This was back 71 to 74.
Okay.
And while I was there, I would go to the games and stuff. But I realized the football team ate at the student union. So I went over with Woody Hayes, who was a very famous coach. He's kind of like Nick Saban back then, right?
Right.
And so Woody Hayes was there, and I brought his book, You Win With People, with me. And when he came out, I had him sign the book, and we started talking about football and my passion. And at the time, I was majoring in dietetics and nutrition. I didn't know what to do, because I couldn't find anything that I loved except football and then scouting and the Jets and all that stuff. So he said, come on over and meet me at the stadium. So I did. And we sat and talked. And he said, right now there was nothing. There wasn't even Phyllis George on the pregame show. There were no women announcers, sideline reporters, trainers, scouts, you name it, anything on the football side. He said, I want you to come to practice all the time. It will always be open to you, whether it's closed or open to scouts. But talk to the scouts, find out everything you can. You're always welcome here. He was unbelievable. He was an amazing mentor to me. When I graduated from Ohio State, I was going to teach at Abilene High School on Long Island. That's where I'm from. And I got the job, and I was going to coach girls sports, I figured. But then my father had a 50th birthday party. And at that party, there were a lot of coaches and players and friends and family. Charlie Winter was the head coach. He was Weeb Eubank's son-in-law. I went over and table hop like I usually do. And I just started talking to him. He goes, man, you really know football and you really have a passion for it. He goes, we're building a brand new building at Hofstra University in Hempstead, Long Island.
Wow.
And the Jets had practiced there, but they didn't have their own building. They shared it with Hofstra. So he said, I love you. Would you consider working? He said, I can get somebody else. He said, just with your passion, I want you to work there. Would you? And I said, are you kidding me? I don't care what you pay me. I don't care what time you want me to be there. I am. That's a dream come true. So that started in 1974, and I was the only woman at this time in the building when it opened, Willie Eubank Hall. So that was how just the beginning. And I was hired as a scouting secretary and a receptionist.
Wow.
And so I was a receptionist in the front while I was filing stuff. I had no idea how to be a secretary because I went to college and we had typewriters. You didn't have computers. You couldn't Google things. I didn't take shorthand. So I had to think my way through a lot of stuff. But I was very lucky that they went by my passion and my knowledge of football and people that would come in the building, people that called up on the phone. I would know right away who they were, should they go through. And at that time, nobody else had secretaries.
Right.
So you would put it right through to somebody. And you had all kinds of people coming in because everybody wanted to meet Joe Namath. He was still there. And so you would have everybody from the Westbury Music Fair coming in that was performing. You would have Dr. J coming in to work out. You would have Taylor. You had all kinds of people. So it was a fascinating job. And from there, the way it really happened was I switched my first boss home writing to Mike Hollaback became the director of player personnel. He was a great player from Boston College. And he had been also a Patriots coach many years. And he and Al Ward, who came from the Dallas Cowboys, he became the general manager. But we did the draft. The draft was 17 rounds back then, not like it is now. There was no TV. There was no ESPN. Okay, 17 rounds. You started and you just went. Well, you didn't have computers. You couldn't punch in. I need somebody that's 6'2", 240 and runs 4.7 on AstroTurf or grass or whatever. So it was very different. You had to go with whatever few tapes you had. And the scouting reports, and it didn't have pre-draft physicals, it didn't have the combine. So it was very different. So we got to the 17th round, and they turned to me and they said, "You're going to make the last pick of the draft in the 17th round." So I did. I chose Mike Bartosik out of Ohio State. He was a wide receiver, tight end, and from there, after a while, they had me start. Besides doing my secretarial work, started looking at films, players, and this and that. And then Al Ward and Mike Hollaback suggested and said, we'd like you to become a scout. And that's how I didn't ask. There were no other women scouts. It came out of the blue. So I was thrilled. That's how it all began.
That's awesome. Question for you. So Connie, Peter Moa from BEASTwriter Family says, Connie, who was the player that you wanted the most and didn't get?
That's a good question. There were 7 drafts. So I'd have to really, go back. It's funny, even to this day, a lot of the players that I want, we don't get. Like I was so thrilled this year when Michael Carter got drafted. I wanted him so much, and I said it doesn't happen that often. But when I was looking at stuff, even right before I left, Joe Delaney was a running back who went to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we took Freeman McNeil, who turned out to be a great running back for us in the first round. But Delaney ended up going in the second round, so it was too late anyway. But he turned out to be Rookie of the Year. So it's really sad. He drowned saving some young people. This was back, I said, in the early 80s. And so, as I said, somebody like Joe Delaney, I used to watch film at home. I was dating who became my eventually husband. That's how we did our dates. Take the projector home, and it was reel to reel. And I would watch the tapes on our dates and write up all that kind of stuff and then go out on the road to certain schools, to Ohio State, to the Orange Bowl, to Boston College, to a few schools, and do actual scouting.
Right on. A guy called Ed says, would you do bicep curls for every mock pick that turned out right like Beast does? That's what I did. I was watching the draft, and I was doing bicep curls while eating pizza for every right pick I did. And she said, did you do mock drafts for the last draft? And who did you have going to the Niners at 3 and why?
That's interesting. Because there was so much talk, about that. I like Mac Jones. I really do. And I like, and Trey Lance, I think, probably has better ceiling, yes. Even though he was he played in a lesser division, type of thing. And he sat out the last year, which wasn't his fault because his team didn't have a schedule. But Mac, even though he stayed at his school, I know he doesn't have the strongest arm, but super intelligent, throws a really great deep ball. So I really thought they were going to go for him. But then as it got closer and closer, and they had the second, pro day, then
Right.
it looked like this was going to be the thing that they 49ers, wanted to go with. But as I said, I was a big fan. I still am a big fan of Mac Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's strong words coming from you. Let's talk about that. Before we go and talk about the quarterback position, let's talk about breaking barriers. You literally broke barriers, becoming the first female NFL scout. Aside from being a female scout, I mean, you just broke barriers in general. I mean, in a predominantly male society, okay, forget football, just a predominantly male-based society. Did you feel like you had to prove yourself because you were female? And did you have something to prove, knowing that, hey, look, people are probably going to look at me because no one has done this before. I am the first to do it. I am the pioneer. How much pressure did you put on yourself going into that job, knowing that all eyes were going to be on you?
Interesting, because when the Jets named me, just like now when there's a lot of females getting promotions to different things, it's all over every social media, which we didn't have, and all over the papers. Back then, luckily, Dick Young and a few other writers who were well known back then, they just happened to put a thing in there that I was named Connie Nicholas at that time, as I wasn't married yet. Was named the first female scout. They call her the Girl Scout. The Jets didn't make a big deal out of it. And it just wasn't one of those things. So I didn't think. The other part was I grew up around it. My whole life, from the time my dad became the doctor for the Jets, that's all I cared about was football and the Jets.
Right.
So the way that I felt comfortable was not in dating, not in myself, not in a lot of different things or what I wanted to do in life. But the only time I felt comfortable was talking football. And and even when I met my husband, he used to laugh, and I was very blessed because, he encouraged it from the time that I met him, and he used to just enjoy watching me talk to people about football. That's where I felt confident, but I didn't feel like I had to double prove anything that I was a woman. I was very blessed, first of all, to have great mentors from Woody, as I said, Walt Michaels, Lou Holtz, Woody Hayes.
Wow.
My earth science teacher that taught me so much when I was in high school, plus all the players. I had just so many interesting people, and all the assistant coaches, just so many different people, and they all accepted me. And I didn't even think, honestly, I did not think twice about it. It was just it was a part of me.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's just wow. Know that you get that instant respect, because I think even today, even me being an Asian American in the NFL media, there's not too much of us in the NFL media. So me going into it, I have to be totally 100% honest with you. When I became a beat writer at the 49ers, I felt like I had to prove myself because I was the only one, or one of a few, and it's just like one of those things where there's a lot of, in our cultures, there's a lot of pressure. You're the one, you have to prove yourself. So I think it's a cultural thing too.
That can be. That really can be very much.
Yeah. So now I prove myself. Now, everybody, people know who I am, but to get to that point, man, it was a grind. Like, you're constantly getting heat on social media. Like, what do you know? Da, 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 da. It's just like, okay, here we go again. But that's awesome hearing from you. You got that instant respect from the get-go because you've been around it your whole life.
Yes, I had a real advantage that way, and I know I did. I was really blessed, and with that kind of thing, so that the comfort. And I think, when you feel comfort, people feel that, and so they felt the confidence and treated me as such. So as I said, I didn't know any better. Let's just put it that way. I really, I remember Title IX didn't even start till the 70s when I came out of college. So there weren't women do, but it was not like I can't even explain. It wasn't a big thing, right. Like now. I said now it is. So there's a lot of competition. Yes. There's a lot of stuff. I know more than you, or I'm better than you on this, and I can do this better than you. It just wasn't that way. I didn't have any competition. Let's put it
right.
that way.
That's true. You were it.
I was it.
Let's talk about, you were not only the first female NFL scout, but you were a damn good one. Let's talk about Wesley Walker. Now we're going to get to Mark Gaston now. Everyone's talking about him, but This is a 1977 second round pick, drafted number 33 overall out of Berkeley. So he's a Bay Area kid, Wesley Walker. He was legally blind in his left eye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
What did you see in Wesley Walker's game to warrant you, hey, let's get the green light, let's get this guy, even though he's legally blind?
Well, at the time, as I said, my boss was Mike Hollaback, great judge of talent. And Wesley, he was known. I mean, he averaged over 25 yards a catch in college, which was amazing. And he had Steve Bartkowski, and he had Joe Roth, who passed away from cancer, as his quarterback. But Wesley was on the relay team for the 4x100. He had the great speed,
right.
Such great deep speed and everything. But we did have to go out and check. Apparently, he had a really bad knee injury. He would have been a first-round pick.
Oh,
and everybody thought that. He had a really bad knee injury his senior year. And remember, back then, now what takes somebody 8 months to 9 months to come back from took 2 or 3 years, or sometimes they didn't come. They never came back from Achilles. There was all different things. So it made so many advances. So as I said, I didn't go out to Cal to scout him. I saw tapes of him. But as I said, his name was always there. And they thought he was going to be a number one. But then the injury came. And we were fortunate enough to get him in the second round after Marvin Powell in the first round. I mean, what a 1-2 punch we got back then, who was as good a right tackle, good tackle as you could ever see. He and Gaston had amazing practices together back then in those days when they had 2 and 3 a day practices. So it was, and Wesley's a dear friend to this day, a wonderful person. But nobody knew that he was blind. He memorized a lot of parts of the eye chart. They didn't know that there was anything. So, because Fred Arbanis was a tight end that became blind in one eye, but that happened after he was with the Chiefs. Didn't happen before. But Wesley, nobody knew about it till he came. And then they found that out afterwards, after he was drafted.
Wow. That's a smart guy. That's a smart kid.
Yes, he is. Yes, he taught school at Kings Park, and he taught school for many, many years afterwards. He's a very smart guy.
Wow. All right. So let's transition into the guy, Mark Gaston. Now, he was your guy in the second round again. You're the second round.
I haven't done too well with second round.
Second round pick, drafted number 41 overall in 1979, correct?
Correct.
Mark Gaston was one of the best draft picks till today. He's the Jets' all-time sack leader. You're a big part of that. What drove you to push for a projected 8th round draft pick in the second round?
Yes. Mark had gone to Arizona State for 1 year with Frank Cush. They didn't see eye to eye. He transferred to East Central Oklahoma. So, in those days, we sure didn't have a heck of a lot of tape and stuff on East Central Oklahoma. But what happened was Mike Stensrud, who was in the Senior Bowl, you have a North and a South team, and they're coached by pro teams, so the Jets had the North squad with Walt Michaels coaching. So when Mike Stensrud got hurt in a motorcycle accident, my boss called me from the road. He said, I need you to find somebody to replace him. Well, most of the guys that were first or second rounders are already scheduled to be in the Senior Bowl, in the North or South. So what I had to do was read whatever reports we had, get whatever tapes I could find, and then I narrowed it down to about 5 guys that were probably anywhere around 3 to 7 or 8, exactly. Because so I narrowed it down, but there was one guy that was really fast, but a small school, and so I said, "What am I going to do? How am I going to make this decision?" So I decided to call the guys, these 5 guys, and I did call each one. Most of them were great, but I mean, they said, "Well, okay, went to Senior Bowl. Oh, I'm not in shape," or "Yeah, I like to play, but what do I have to do? How long? Blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff." One guy that I called said, "I'm on the next plane. Get me there. All I ever wanted to be was a pro football player. I love the sport. Just tell me what to do, and I will be at the Senior Bowl." And I'm a person that loves enthusiasm, loves passion. That's always been my thing when I look at players. I just love that, and so I made the decision. So I went to see Walt Michaels, and I said, well, I'm going by. When I went back, I saw he was the one that ran a 4.640 at 280 pounds and 6'5".
Jeez.
And so I said, well, this is who I think. I didn't realize that, but at first, that's just after talking to him. So I told Walt Michaels. He said, great. And so we added him on. And apparently, I wasn't at the practices down at the Senior Bowl, but Dan Sakanovich, who was a defensive line coach, said, Mark just tore it up. He was down there with Fred Smirlis and a bunch of other great ball players. He really was unbelievable in practices. Everybody saw it. And then he ended up being MVP of the North squad. And Marty Lyons ended up being MVP of the South squad. So when it came time for the draft, I'm the person that calls it in. I sit in the room, which I loved. Still to me is the epitome of life, sitting in the draft room. And so they call, and they got Marty in the first round from Alabama, and he was a well-known player. Everybody knew Marty Lyons. And so now we come to the second round, and they chose Gaston. So that was a pleasure to call that in. Just think, but I can't claim that I knew he was going to be what he was. And he turned out to be such just an amazing athlete, pass rusher, and that sack exchange.
Yeah,
we got Klecko in the sixth round in '76. We got Abdul Salam, who used to call Larry Falk, in '77. Then you get both Mark and Marty in '79. So there's your sack exchange and how we built it.
Yeah, that was the nickname. It was called the New York Sack Exchange, a play off the New York Stock Exchange. That was awesome. And Connie, you found an 8th round talent to be drafted in the 2nd round. That has to be the most glorifying feeling, like you said, because a lot of times people don't realize this. And I'm not a scout, but people have came to me, hey, Beast, what do you think about scouting? Because I do the same thing as you. Like, I do my mock drafts, and it became as a hobby. But once you start actually hitting on these picks, you're like, I can actually do this. I have an eye for talent. So let's take it a step further. You talk about the on-field production, what you like, the passion that these players have. That's some critical factors that I don't think a lot of scouts look for. They see the talent and be like, in today's NFL, every NFL coach will tell you this. Hey, I can coach up this guy. I can coach him up to reach his potential. I don't care. I don't care where he came from. I can get the best out of him. Every NFL coach has that mentality. The downfall and the reality of the situation is you can't, because these players either have it or you don't. And that comes down to one word. I tweeted this out to you, and 49ers Ultimate Report asked me how we met. We've been, obviously exchanging on Twitter and so forth. That's how we met. And you liked this tweet that I tweeted out to you in regards to heart. I said, you can't coach heart. You either have it or you don't. Is that something that you look for as the epitome of the ideal Jets player or NFL player that you look for before everything else? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have heart, if you don't have what I like to call the 3Ds, the discipline, the drive, the dedication, then it doesn't matter how much talent you have, because work ethic will always win out in the end.
Yes, there's no question in my mind. That for me, it's very, very important. Like you said, you can't measure, and that's why half of the 40% of the league are free agents, because your people are judging height, weight, and speed, the measurables. But there's so much more than just measurable, as you can tell, with so many guys that aren't the right size, or different weights, or different things that make it big. So whether it was Wayne Probet that made it on there, when the 49ers was Kyle Juszczyk, I would take him in a second. I love Kyle. The 49ers have a lot of great players. It was obvious. Bosa was obvious, but there's a lot of other guys, that aren't that obvious. That those are the things that they're going to bring. They say, if they used to say, bring their lunch pail, which don't say anymore. Right. But they're going to be there every day. That they love the game. They love the game. That they want to play. And back then they didn't make a lot of money, so they were making less than $1 million. Most players were in the '60s. They were making $30,000 and $40,000. So they were doing it really, as I said, so much for the love of the game. Now it's a little bit more with brand and social media. Everything has changed a little bit, but I still do look for that when I'm watching the guys with the heart. As I said, both running backs from North Carolina, I adored.
You and me are on the same page, because and Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. I wanted Michael Carter on the San Francisco 49ers because I thought he would be perfect for the zone blocking scheme. The Jets use the same exact scheme.
Yes.
I thought the Niners should have got him instead of Trey Sermon, just because I think he's a better fit. I think the Niners went with Trey Sermon because he came from your school, The Ohio State University.
I know, he came from Oklahoma, and then he had a slow start with that 1 year with Ohio State until the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt in the playoff.
Right.
He came out strong then.
Oh, he came out very strong, and I think that's what solidified him in the 3rd round as a 3rd round grade. But I like Michael Carter. I think he arguably is the steal of the 4th round.
Yes, I think that I was really pleased with the way the Jets draft and what they went for this year. I mean, we didn't think Elijah Moore was going to be there, you know, then trading in order to get Elijah Vera Tucker, and it took me a long time to be able to get that one name right.
Yeah, I know.
ABT, as they call it, right? And then of course Zach. So it's and then what you really hope for is getting when guys come through that are like your fifth round pick, who is like just like your tight end George Kittle, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
49ers. Okay, there's a fifth round pick. That's what you want to have come through, because most of us can hit on the first round. Then it gets a little bit tougher, but you see all the misses. Even in first round, people miss if you look back in the drafts. So if you can all of a sudden get a guy come through in the fifth round or the seventh or free agent, that's where I think you make the best team.
I agree with you. And I think that's where the scouting department is so underrated, is because obviously the ratings, the TV ratings, like you said, it's all about the top 50 players, the top 75 players. After that, then it's really truly going to show who the best scouting department is. Because although the GM is the one ultimately responsible for making those decisions, it's a collective agreement, because you have regional scouts from all over, and they have to come to an agreement on exactly who they should target. And there's some war room discussion or debates. I'm sure there's people fighting behind closed doors. Like, look, I wanted Michael Carter, and another guy says, you know what? We didn't need Michael Carter. We should have went in this direction.
Exactly.
Ultimately, the Jets, in my grading system, got an A grade because you got Zach Wilson. He traded up, I believe it was from 23 to 14.
Right.
With the Minnesota Vikings, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then you picked up Elijah Vera Tucker. So that was good. You needed an offensive lineman.
Badly.
Right? You got your slot wide receiver in Elijah Moore. I know you're happy with Jamison Crowder. I saw your tweet. And I don't think it's going to be there next year, though. But I like to tell you.
But I like to have some veteran. We don't have much veteran presence on the Jets right now. Okay,
right?
We're very, very young. We're probably the youngest team, I would say, close to it anyway in the NFL. So we don't even have our veteran backup quarterback yet, which is really. You think 15 out of 30? I did a study on it. 15 out of 32 quarterbacks last year, teams lost their quarterback for part or the whole year.
Wow!
So it's almost half. And 3 others chose to make switches, like Fitzpatrick, to Tua, and the Bears with their switch. So almost half the teams lose their quarterback. So having a backup that can step in is very, very important.
Yeah, I thought you guys should have got Nick Mullins.
I know. I was kind of hoping for. I really thought he might. I don't know if they're going to go for Nick Foles, but other than that, I don't know who's left. I loved, when Josh McCown was with us before and Sam Darnold was quarterback. I thought he was, if he decides he wants to coach, he'll be an amazing coach.
Look how much knowledge you have on all 32. And again, for anyone who loves football, just in general, you have to know all 32 NFL teams. And that's what I try to bring here in the BEASTwriter family, because in order for you to be a fan of your team, you have to know what the other 31 other NFL teams are doing. And Connie, you're doing this on the top of your head like I do. And it's like, I'm so amazed, because you're like, George Kittle, 5th round pick. People are probably looking at this like, did she cover the 49ers? No.
I didn't even know I was going to say anything about the 49ers today. I didn't know.
Yeah. You're awesome. You're awesome. So let's go ahead and talk about this, and tell me again, I'm not a scout. You are. So this is what I look for the quarterback position. Okay. Traditionally, you want to look for a pure pocket passer, and the ultimate parameters that I look for is accuracy, how a guy goes through progressions, how he stands tall in the pocket under duress. Those are the things that I look for. Nowadays, it's all about, extending the play, I feel like, more so than anything else. Because of the rules, is it more tailored to that type of a quarterback that you look for? Do you have to transition your scouting evaluation to say, hey, look, we're looking for a guy who can extend the play first, rather than the pure pocket passer of the Tom Brady's in the past? Like, how do you decipher between the two?
Ryan, I think you really hit it on the nose completely, because it's up until 5 or 6 years ago. And of course, the CBA changed a lot, because you have to play the quarterback too young. You used to always have to say, it was always 4 to 5 years in the old days, and they would, and they could sit, because they signed for money, but you didn't have to play them right away. Now, that's why Sam got, sent to the Panthers, because a 5th-year option. I think if he had been in his 2nd year, I think he would have been still a Jet. But because of that 5th-year option, they would have to pick up. So I But so I agree with you completely on what you're saying. Now, on the quarterbacks, in the old days, right, it was standing tall in the pocket, just maneuverability like a Dan Marino within the pocket, right? Always throwing up. You wanted a guy that was 6'4", 6'3", overhand, strong arm, smart, reading defenses, all that type of stuff. You always accuracy, no matter what. Right. There's always accuracy under center most of the time. Now, probably 50 to 60% of the time, they're in shotgun. Now it's like, can he extend the play? I still don't want to, like you say, a running quarterback, a mobile quarterback that can. But it's the jury is out as to how much more they get hurt. We still won't know for another couple of years. See how that goes. But it's also because the rules changed that you can't touch the quarterback. Basically, it's a lot easier to be a quarterback now than it was in Joe Namath's day or any of the or Joe Montana's or any of those, because they could get hit high, they could get hit low, they got hit late, they got clothesline, all that kind of stuff. Plus the defensive backs, were allowed to keep hitting the wide receivers. And also, you could, like, if Ronnie Lott and Kenny easily saw you coming over the middle, they just take your head off. Now, that's not allowed. So it's a heck of a lot easier in that respect, in my mind. I feel so sorry for the defenses. I really do.
No, it's funny. It's true. I'm a defensive guy, me personally. And it's funny how you bring up Kenny Easley. A lot of people don't know about him, but he was a great defensive back for the Seattle Seahawks over many years. Kenny Easley, one of the most underrated defensive backs of all time, in my opinion. You know everything. You're talking about the Seahawks, the Niners, the Jets.
Many years.
No, I know, but it's just I love this. Like, I could talk to you for hours. Let's talk about Sam Darnold. Okay, I like Sam Darnold. I know a lot of people don't like Sam Darnold. I know he was seeing ghosts. I don't think he got a fair shake in New York. I hate to say that, but I don't think he had the offensive line. He had the skill players around him for him to really flourish. No quarterback can have success without a stable offensive line. He then ultimately was traded to the Carolina Panthers. I think he's going to do well in the Panthers. Do you believe that Sam Darnold got a fair shake in New York?
I have to say that it didn't really. No, he actually played better in the beginning, under Todd Bowles than he did afterwards. When I saw him, first time I saw him at USC, he was amazing. He came in, they were 1-2. He comes in, they win 9 in a row. And he's the hero of the Rose Bowl. He throws 31 touchdowns and 9 interceptions his first year. Second year, he went to 22 and 13, but he lost a couple of his players. And then he had the pro day and the pouring rain. I loved him. He could maneuver, but as I said, he had very few weapons. He did have the injury. That's the only thing I even worry about. That was Zach. Are you more injury prone, just like Chad Pennington was, just like Jimmy Garoppolo? If we're trying to go to the 49ers for you. Right. Okay. But it is hard. Some people, like Joe Flacco, like Eli Manning, never got hurt. Never missed a game. And all those Giants never had to worry about a backup quarterback for 15 years. Okay, so we had so many different things with the guys getting hurt. And so that's what I was with Sam. He had the mono. He had the first year he had something. Then he had the hand. Then he had the foot. So that's why I'm really anxious to see with the change going to the Panthers how it's going to be. I think he has all the ability.
Right.
And I just think it was mostly, in my mind, with a new regime coming in, plus that 5th-year option. They needed to start over. That's it always comes down to money.
It does. Tony Nagatani asks, what do you think of Josh Rosen?
Oh, that was a sad thing, because when I remember watching him in the elite thing that they always do with all the young quarterbacks, and he was just tearing everything up. He looked like a surefire. And then when he got to UCLA, there were just stories that he just wasn't that serious about it. Attitude seemed to make a play. Now, I don't know him. That's what seemed to make a play. And then when he gets drafted, the first thing he says is, the first 9 teams are going to regret this, kind of thing. And then he goes there. But, and he's strictly a pocket passer, which can do it. But there's just something, again, whether it's in the heart or what, there's something missing there.
Yeah. I agree with you. I heard he had bad work ethic. That's what I heard.
So that's what I think. I mean, like I said, I don't want to say it.
Yeah. Right.
But that was what the word was coming out. I mean, everybody that came out that year had something.
Right.
That,
Right.
like every year, the longer you go to the draft, the more they pick you apart.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're awesome. Everybody, like, we have Vikings fans in here. Like I said, we have all kinds of fans. Yeah, see, look, they like Kellen Mond and Maya Davis.
Okay. Kellen Mond is really a surprise. I was not a fan of his at all in the beginning. He seemed to really come on. I don't know if it was because of the coaching staff that changed over or what, but he seemed like a smart kid. And Wyatt Davis, yeah, I loved him from Ohio State. Yes.
You're a huge Ohio State fan, because you went to Ohio State. You guys always have Michigan's number, it seems like, as a play.
Amazing. That one, I have to admit, that one call though, where they gave it to Ohio State, that one year where they said we made the first, and we didn't. I really would say, well, I think we got a lucky break on that one. I'll take it though. I'd rather be lucky than good.
All right. Here's another one from Kieran Rao. Says, why did the Jets draft Ken O'Brien over Dan Marino?
Okay, that's one thing. I had left the Jets in '81, so my first draft after that was, the Freeman McNeil. We drafted 2 running backs, first and second round, Freeman McNeil and then Marion Barber. So, but then 3 was the great quarterback class. That was the class. Kenny O'Brien was not well known, but my boss was out in California a lot at that time, and as I said, now Kenny, and also Dan Marino. There were rumors he had a great junior year. The senior year wasn't as great. Rumors, were put out. Some people say that they were put out by Don Chula. Some people, you hear all kinds of things. Of course, there was no social media, but because he's so football savvy and smart, and I would have taken Marino, but I wasn't there. But I think Kenny O'Brien did a lot of the things that for the Jets. He was smart. He had a strong arm. Asked Wesley Walker, and he adored playing for Kenny. And he came in after Richard Todd, so he really did a good job. I mean, he wasn't Marino, and I would have taken Marino, but I still think Kenny did a really nice job for us.
Yeah. Right. Here's a question for you. I mean, obviously you are the scout, like you are the person behind the scenes. So I'm going to ask you, anyone who has NFL scout aspirations, what's the best advice that you would give them today?
Wow. Okay. I would say start young. If you really love it, just do your own little scouting reports at home to see if you don't have to get 100%. You don't have to get 75% right. If you hit on 55% of your picks or whatever it is, hey, I think you're doing pretty well.
Right.
So, but I would do that. I would be doing that on your own when I'm younger. Then, when I get into college, and that's still what I like, I would do an internship. They're all doing internships now. And even if you don't get into the scouting part, you may get into something else. But a scout or the head of scouting may say, wow, I really like her or his work ethic. It only takes one person to believe in you. If they believe in you, they'll say, ooh, I think I'll take that person over, or maybe when you leave or after your internship. And so I think, and you just have to have a passion because you're on the road. You're on the road almost all year. So you either have to have an understanding spouse, partner, significant other, or be single. Because you are, they travel so much. It's not, and then when they arrive, just say they fly into Alabama. Well, yes, they're going to go to University of Alabama, which everybody loves. Then they got to go to all the small schools and drive 200 miles a day and write up all the reports. You got to really have a passion for it, I'll say.
Yeah, you hit on the nail. Someone asked me if I was going to become people on here. They know that's the thing I do. I like scouting players, and someone's asked me people have asked me if I would be an NFL scout. And the first question that they asked me, because you hit on the nail, is, "Are you single? Do you have a family?" I said no. They're like, "Good, you're perfect for the job." That's the first question. That's the first question they asked me. And it's true, right? It's true.
Yeah, more than coaching or anything else, being a scout, you said you have to have somebody who really is understanding and doesn't mind doing the household and everything else and taking care of that. So when you have your little bit of time off, it's okay. Or be single and traveling all around. So, and usually they have a portion of the United States that they cover, the Northeast, Southeast, whatever it is like that. But as I said, the other part that's so different is there's so much now with all the different, with social media, with YouTube. with everything you could, that we couldn't do. You could just pick up and watch a player, watch a game, and all those things. That's why there's so many people out there that are, can do a very, very good job. I have that thing that NFL Films did on me, and I was very blessed because Phil Savage, who used to run the Senior Bowl, I was just friends with him on Twitter as well, and he wrote a great book. Phil Savage did about being at Alabama and all kinds of stuff and scouting. And so when I went up to, I go to Jet Camp every year for like 3 weeks in the summer, and he said, "Kind of come out, we're going to go over." I showed the NFL Films piece to Joe Douglas. I want you to come in and talk to the scouts, and what they really want. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to tell these guys?" But what he really kind of wanted, they showed the thing, and I said, everybody now has pretty much the same basic physical and measurables. And as a scout, you need to find something else. You either need to get your head out of the phone or iPad or whatever you're using, and when you're in the airport, talk to every person that's next to you. Yeah. Go when you go flying somewhere, visit the deli. Go anywhere that may know the players besides the trainers. And you'll find out about the person's personality, their character, their integrity, as well as then you can do the scouting. But if you can get one little nugget that somebody else doesn't have, that's how you become a great scout.
See, that's awesome. See, that's awesome knowledge, because again, that's what I tell people. It's like you can get fluff from the head coach, you can get fluff from the assistant coaches, even down to the equipment manager, to the janitors, because they can be told what to say. Just I don't want to be, he's a good player, because if it comes back to them, then they get a bad report, then the recruiting process gets kind of skewed. Oh, my coach just backstabbed me. I mean, you got to say the right thing sometimes. So in order to sift through it, like you said, Connie, you have to talk to the local deli guy. Oh, he goes to this deli down the street. Let's talk to him. Is he a jerk? Or how does he treat, like, even, how did he treat let's talk to the counselor, the high school counselor, or the college counselor. Let's talk to these guys. When he comes in, does he take constructive criticism, or is he just kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to make it, I don't care what you have to say? That plays a role.
Because there are a lot of talented people out there that didn't make it pro football, and it wasn't because of their talent.
There you go.
Other stuff. And so I agree with you. And that's really what I think is, just trying to say, because, everybody is on their phones, everybody's on social. And so, but the more you can talk to people, you never know when you're sitting in an airport, and you turn to somebody and you start talking, and they go, oh, you know what? Use my name. I know so-and-so. When you go down there, you got to expand. You got to network. Right. To me, no matter what, football, just like any kind of business, is networking. So the more people the more people you talk to, and instead of just being isolated. To me, that's what football is like. It's like a big fraternity. And everybody, one person knows this person, knows this person. So, and then you find out who you can trust. And it's great.
Yeah. GM Trent Baalke, when he was the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, he told me off the record, he's like, this is a risk-reward business, right? And I turned to him and I go, you know what? As much as it is a risk-reward business, it's a people business. And he liked that. Because at the end of the day, you have to establish relationships with people in order to sift through the smoke screens, right? During the draft process, you have to develop relationships around all NFL teams in order to gauge, hey, what's this team going to do? Because when you formulate a mock draft, a lot of times when I see it online, is they just go based on the needs of that player. But there's actually tendency biases involved, right? Certain GMs would tend to a certain college based on the conference that they're from, based on the positional, this guy's a Big Ten. We like Big Ten linebackers. Or the arm length, right? Okay, well, this guy has short arms or long arms.
33-inch arms, that's right.
There you go. He has 33-inch arms. That's the magic number. If he has 33-inch arms, he can play offensive tackle. If he's like Elijah Vera Tucker, he has to be kicked into offensive guard only. Right?
It's so true. If the quarterback's hand is less than 9 inches, forget him.
That's very, So that's why it's like when I form my mock draft, it's really tailored to exactly what I see actually playing out, not who I would select. Because again, a lot of the mock drafts are out there. I would like to say like mine's like right up there. Like I compare mine to Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, Bookie Brooks, Charles Davis. Those are the guys that I really compare to. And 9 times out of 10, I'll either be like 1 or 2. But never in third, like coming in third. So it's just like they know their stuff. And for me, like I said, if you're going to become an NFL scout or want to be an NFL scout, mock drafts is the way how I like to formulate my stuff. and that's how you started. And for anyone watching, I think mock drafts is the way to go. And again, if you're 55% right, or if you're more right than wrong, then people are going to gravitate toward that, because it's like gambling in Vegas, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's the same exact concept.
And you're right. And some people, right away, I want to go into pro football. Well, sometimes you have to start in the smaller, lower part. Maybe you're going to go to a college and do scouting of high school players for them first, prove yourself. Right. You can't be too big in your mind and your ego. You've got to, just if you love it, you start anywhere that they say, and then you work your way up. Because very few people can go, start and go right to the pros.
Oh no, absolutely. You have to pay your dues, so to speak, right? You have to pay your dues. And like I said, I think a lot of times what people don't realize is, like you said, going back and piggybacking on your story and how to get to be an NFL scout, is it only takes one person. It's the power of one. And if it means going into the PR department, sending out these sheets to us beat writers and saying, hey, look, and building relationships that way. Again, it comes down to work ethic, because you don't have to play a down the football to be a good talent evaluator. You just have to have the work ethic and the drive, but then also have the intuition to know and see talent. And at the end of the day, be good with people. I feel like the people who are the best and who are good and who are honest and who have integrity are the ones that are going to make it to the top without brown nosing or doing any of that on the way up. Because at the end of the day, that passion and that drive and that integrity will shine through simply because you're good at what you do.
I agree, and it's just like coach. It's just like coaching. People can see if you're real or not. If you're, whether you're a loud coach, a quiet coach, whatever it may be, as long as you are you. Don't try to be Bill Belichick if you're not Bill Belichick. Kind of thing. Okay, so you have to be whoever you are, and all different ways can work. But like you say, it's a people business, and no matter what, if it's getting coffee and for somebody, it's just don't be. There should be nothing that is beneath you to do to help out. And it's a team game. Football is a team game. So the more that you show that you're a member of a team and working with them, that's it.
Right. Snacks from the BEASTwriter family says, thoughts on drafting Kyle Brady, your tight end, instead of Warren Sapp.
Oh, I love Kyle. He's such a great guy. Anyway, that was, I know he didn't become the tight end that we thought he would be. Warren Sapp, though, he claims he wasn't smoking the pot and doing all the rest of the stuff. Again, I don't know, but that was the knock, and I was gone when that happened too. I will say with Kyle Brady, when Parcells came in, it wasn't great, but when Parcells came in, he knew how to use Kyle. He used him almost like an H-back and then blocking, and tight end, moved him around. And he always had him as a lead blocker. He was a great blocker.
He was.
And he used him properly. So a lot of times, that's also that is it. Does the coach know how to use you to get the most out of you, whatever your ability may be? You may not be as good as somebody else. That's okay.
Right. But
whatever you are, and I thought, Parcells got that out of Kyle Brady very well.
Yeah, Bill Parcells was one of the best coaches I think the Jets had. You talk about Wayne Corbett, talk about Hofstra. For those Niner fans who remember Hofstra University, who no longer exists anymore, Giovanni Carmazzi was the third-round pick back in 2000. And you passed up on Tom Brady. So I apologize to you Niner fans that Bill Walsh took Giovanni Carmazzi over a guy like Tom Brady, but then so did every other NFL team. Why did Tom Brady fall so hard? Can you explain to that?
That is a good question. I wish, because they said he had some good things. I love reading Mel Kiper's write-up on him. And, I guess he didn't either look the part. He ran so slow at the pro day, of course, that picture of him and all that kind of stuff. But again, he has the inner stuff that you can't, and the hard work and the intangibles that are just amazing. And his arm got stronger. If the Jets hadn't knocked out Drew Bledsoe with Mo Lewis knocking him out, he probably never would have gotten his chance. So it wasn't Belichick being a genius. It was, we knocked out Drew Bledsoe, and in comes Tom Brady. And we thought, he was from Hofstra. Everybody thought he had the makings of a pro quarterback, because Joe Gardy, who used to be a coach with the Jets, was the head coach at Hofstra, and really thought he would make it. And then you have a guy like Wayne Corbett, who is a free agent, didn't get drafted, and then just is as tough as nails. In fact, the guard at the gate didn't even believe he was really coming in for a tryout to sign, because he's not big. He's built like this, but not short. So, but there's a guy that had more heart than anybody. Brucey Harper. He was the first third down back. Before you had third down backs, kind of like a Devin Coleman.
Okay.
Okay, that type of guy, catch out of the backfield, put him on third down speed, change of pace kind of guy. And so that was way back in 1976. They really never had a third down backs before. Everybody just played. That's the other thing too nowadays. We never heard about people ever tapping out players.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine Joe Buck or Mark Gaston ever tapping out for a play. They would rather die than tap out for a play. So it's a different game now, scheme wise. In tweeners that used to not make it now can make it in situational pass rushes and different things. You have the nickel and the dime. So many different things. Before it was strictly your 4-3 and your 4 defensive backs when we played. So it was just those kind of guys, and they played every down.
Yeah. Talk about the word tweeners. Tweener is a word that we use in the scouting department that before the edge rusher position, that's the name that was replaced. It was tweener. It's a defensive end and a 4-3 defensive end base, or a 3-4 outside linebacker. That's what the name tweener comes from. And then today we call it edge.
That's such a great point, Ryan. I love that. It's true, because those guys really didn't make it. I think you had to play 4 downs and the 4-3, and everybody was set. Everybody got down and set. You didn't have people roaming and doing different things. And you had a blitz once in a while, but nothing, extravagant. And same even on offense. You had your tight end, 2 wide receivers. You didn't have 5 wides, and running backs were really important back then. I did a study on this, just so you know how football has evolved. From 1983 to 73 to 84. So those 11 years, there were 23 running backs that were top 10 picks. 23 running backs, but only 10 quarterbacks.
Wow.
Now you go to now. Okay, so now you're going to our year. So that was 23 and 10 running backs to quarterbacks. Now, from 2009, 2020, 25 quarterbacks, 7 running backs in the first 10 picks. Wow. So it has completely switched the type of game.
Interesting. That is interesting. The running back position in today's NFL, I still believe it's becoming more obsolete because of the fact of the way the rules are dictated toward the offense. And like you said, defenses are handcuffed. I feel bad for a defensive player because you can't do anything these days. And it's like, I get fantasy football. You talk about NFL as a business. NFL is a business, but all the rules are favoring the offense because it raises money for fantasy football, DraftKings, FanDuel. They all it's a $1 billion industry, and everybody wants a piece of that pie. How do you do it? Where no one cares about defense in fantasy football, it's all about the O. I think the NFL competition committee needs to take a step back and say, we need to save the integrity of the game, because I get we can't hit a quarterback high. I get we can't hit a quarterback low, but this is a contact sport. And you mentioned it. At the end of the day, again, it's a contact sport. Players are going to get hurt regardless because it's football. It's a contact sport.
Yes.
Players know what they sign up for. Violence was a thing that made football football.
Yes, it was.
It really was. Across the middle. No, I'm sorry. You're going to have to pay a toll. Nowadays, you go across the middle, and it's like, you touch me, it's going to be a flag because you're headhunting.
Defenseless
would be disqualified from the league, right?
Yep. Right, defenseless receiver now and everything. So, and then with RPOs, you got to be able to hit the quarterback no matter what. Every RPO. It's the only thing that'll discourage him from, because right now, unless he fakes and makes you know for sure that he's handing off, you can't touch him.
Right.
So that's changed the whole game. We almost have to put 12 people on defense now with the option.
Yeah, the rules are really, really bad. And I talked to the NFL officials about this before in the past when we had meetings with them with the NFL media. And I said, look, the whole point about when a quarterback slides outside the pocket, and it's hard for the defensive player to anticipate where he's going to end up on that slide. So he ends up hitting him in the neck or the head area. He's doing his best to avoid the situation, but you're putting that defensive player in a disadvantage, because at the end of the day, if he plants his foot wrong, he's going to be the one that's getting hurt. And does that make him any less important than the quarterback? And obviously they stay quiet because the answer is yes. It's the quarterback.
I know. It's become so much that way. As I said, it's unreal. And like you said, with fantasy football, and betting and all this type of stuff, and then people want all this, scoring and excitement. People don't consider a defensive, which we did growing up. We thought defense was great. And then, and sacks were great, and the toughness of a quarterback. What could he take back there, man? He could take being being hit. But now, as I said, so I know it's changed, and I know I'm old and stuff, but it's hard. Sometimes it gets me upset that they changed it so much.
No, it's not that. I mean, we're on the same wavelength. I mean, it doesn't matter what. I think anyone who loves football, the integrity of the game is being compromised. And not too many people want to say that, but let's face it. If you go on YouTube right now, which people are on because they're on this live stream, what gets the most hits? The NFL violent hits where some people are just taking each other's head off. That's what people love. And again, I'm not saying to injure the guy permanently, but injuries do happen. It's part of the game, and people love that. I love that. I'm not afraid to say it. I go on record saying it all the time. I love controlled violence. Robert Saleh, who we're going to talk about right now.
Yes.
Me and him, I mean, we had a great working relationship in San Francisco when I covered him.
Oh, did you?
Our pregame ritual was I would go up to, he would run, and I'd see him before, try to see him before every game. I'd give him, wish him luck, and we give each other props and stuff. One of the best guys that I worked with, Robert Saleh, he really loves controlled violence. We talk about this all the time.
Yes.
And you could talk about this with him too, but he loves controlled violence. And if he had it his way, I'm not going to say it, but he likes physical players. He likes that physical style throwback. And who doesn't? Any defensive coordinator would love that. Yes. Let's talk about Robert Saleh for a second. What do you think he brings to the table in terms of this young team that you talk about with the New York Football Jets?
Just as it happens all the time, Rex Ryan, big back, right? And Rex was the outgoing, say anything, do anything kind of guy. And for a while, it was really good because we had the players, but then it kind of fizzled out. And then you change, right? So now you go to a quiet, self-assured guy in Todd Bowles, who doesn't think you have to put on a show at all, doesn't win the press conference and type of thing. Now I'm so happy he's doing so well with the Bucks. But anyway, so now he goes there and Adam Gase somehow, I don't know, but they paid Manning, put the word in for him. I don't know. Anyway, he goes there. And then so everybody is really ready. I mean, with Robert Saleh, everybody just loves the enthusiasm. I think they see that it's real. That's number one. As I always told you, it has to be real. If you're out there cheering and people feel that it's fake, it's not going to work. But it seems like the players really respond to him, offense and defense. He was a tight end in college. So he knows offense. He's not a guy he understands that part of it. So I think I'm very excited. You never know how a guy's going to be as a head coach. A lot of coordinators have, it's different because you have to do the special teams, offense and defense. You're not just in with your group. So it is tougher. Plus the media, you got to deal with. Okay, so and if you start to lose and all the rest of the stuff, so there's a lot of much harder stuff, and the place where you're working and the people in there and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully I think he's going to bring a breath of fresh air to the team. I think it's going to be exciting. We're young, so I think the kids will all listen. And then he brought in his offensive one of the young offensive guru from the 49ers.
He did.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I think you guys should be excited. His all gas, no break mentality. It's a full go on the go all the time. In fact, I remember times when I would leave Levi Stadium, I'd be the last one to leave sometimes after games, and he'd be in his office, literally with the, you can see his, and then the blinds would be, and then he's working. Like the guy's grinding all the time. And every NFL coach does this. This is nothing new. I mean, NFL coaches literally sleep at their office in their rooms like 75% of the time. It happens because that you have to be on that level because everyone else is. So you have to keep up with the Joneses. But Robert Saleh's work ethic to me is bar none. And I think that's going to rub off. It's going to rub New York the right way because that's how New York is built. Like they're built on a strong foundation of, very, very hard work, very, very blue collar. We're going to do things the right way. This is how we work. You're on or you're off, but there's no in between. Don't half but anything. You're either all gas, no break, because we're going. And if you're not on this train, you're just going to be off in no time. So I'd like Robert Saleh, dude. I think you guys got that one.
I think it's going to be exciting. And already, he's been going to the different playoff games. He's doing different things. So now I have to know, tell me, I see it both ways on Twitter. Is it all gas, no breaks, or all gas, no break?
All gas, no break.
Singular.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I see it both ways, and you say, okay, which, we're new to it, so I just want to know.
All gas, no break. Yeah. Okay. All gas, no break. Connie, we're gonna finish this up with a BEASTwriter 2-minute drill. I'm gonna ask you a this or that question, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So thank you so much, Connie, for tuning in. But before you do that, we're not gonna let you go just yet. We're doing the BEASTwriter 2-minute drill and see how you do. You ready to do this?
I'm ready.
All right. This is a fun one, Connie. You are awesome. We have to have you on more often.
Oh, anytime. I love it. This is so much fun.
All right.
Talk football all day long.
I know you can. And I love how you talk about all 32 NFL teams. I think this is something I think I will have you on because I think, again, I'm trying to build up my brand of covering all 32 NFL teams.
Yes.
And in order to do that, I need, I don't know what else to say, but I need people who can kind of comprehend on that level. We can talk about all 32 NFL teams. And you seem to be doing that.
I watch.
It's crazy.
I watch every game, every team, every time. Yes.
All right. You ready for the BEASTwriter 2-minute drill? We're going to go ahead and get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Ooh, why?
Oh, I just love anything with cheese. Gooey, goppy cheese.
Okay. What's your favorite New York spot for pizza?
Oh, I don't have any because it's been so long. I've been away from New York for 40 some odd years. So I have no idea. I've been on Long Island. And so I can't tell you.
Okay. Do you like New York? Do you like New York pizza though, or deep dish?
New York.
Okay. You're like me. Okay, perfect. All right. Lobster tail or crab?
Lobster tail.
All right. Why?
Oh, I just a lobster fan. I never like crab. I just always love lobster. And all the time, especially, Maine, the real lobster. We have Florida lobster where I live. It's like different, not the real but like Maine lobster.
I'm lobster tail all the way too. Are you a dog lover or a cat lover?
Well, that's a tough one. I used to have a dog. I used to have a cat. So, but I'm not a fanatic on either one. But I guess I would choose a dog, I think.
Okay. What kind of dog did you have? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, well, Jet was a black lab named Jet. Okay, and then I had another. We had a little white, not Maltese. I can't think. The other one, Bichon Frise, and that was her name was April, from April O'Neil from the Ghostbusters for my son.
Well, there you go. All right, pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Okay, everyone picks pancakes. I'm a waffles guy.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am. I love waffles. I don't know why. I like pancakes. I grew up on pancakes. My parents always made pancakes. You could do a lot more things with pancakes. I don't know. Waffles just kind of grew on me. I think it started in college. I went to San Diego State and we had that waffle maker and it had unlimited. I was on what's called the fat kid plan where I had like unlimited meals. So like every single day I would go and get waffles like at midnight and during the day and everything in between. And people were like, dude, you really like waffles. It's like, you know what? That's all. I mean, I can't make pancakes. So yeah, I love waffles. So yeah, I'm known as the waffle guy. All right. Netflix or Disney Plus? Do you have any? Do you have any of those?
I have them both. But
you do?
And I watch stuff, but I'm not. I'm more. See, I'm so much into sports. Any kind of sport. So I'm more into wherever my sports stuff is on. That's what I'm going to. Other than, of course, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, I watch that too. So I do. I mean, I love watching Hamilton on Disney Plus and with my grandchildren. That's fine. But Netflix, I'm always searching for different things on there. But it's hard to find really good, clean movies. I'm just, everything is. I don't know. I'm old fashioned.
No, I know. So you're on Disney Plus. I'm actually a Disney Plus guy more than Netflix, believe it or not. If you like, I don't know what kind of movies you like. You said sports movies.
Yes.
There's a movie you can obviously you can watch Remember the Titans, those types of movies. But there's actually a show on Disney Plus called The Big Shot. It's a basketball. It's a basketball kind of mini series.
Yes.
Yeah, you might like that. I don't know. It talks about basically this guy. I want brief. Check it out. And then obviously for a Mighty Ducks fan, I don't know if you're a Mighty Ducks fan, but there's a series called The Game Changers. So it's a spin-off off the Mighty Ducks with the same characters involved.
I didn't know that. Okay, yes. I look for things like that or on musicals. As I said, that's kind of me. I like things that are kind of upbeat and happy.
Well, if you like musicals, like Sound of Music, I believe is on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah,
And that's my dad's favorite movie. Like he will watch that like 15 times in a row.
I love Christopher Plummer. He just passed away. When he sings Edelweiss, I just cry.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Are you an Apple or an Android user?
Apple.
Okay.
All the way.
The same here. All right, Pepsi or Coke?
I don't drink soda, so I can't tell. So I can't tell the difference.
Okay, cool. Scary movie or funny movie?
Funny movie.
Yeah. What's your favorite funny movie? Or do you have any off the top of your head?
Oh no, off the top. Oh, Nutty Professor.
Ah, you're a Nutty Professor.
Anything Eddie Murphy, I love.
Okay, Eddie Murphy. All right. Yeah, the Nutty Professor is a good one. Okay. Here's last but not least. Would you prefer a zone blocking scheme or a power run based run scheme?
Ooh, oh, is this gonna be? Well, I got to go with the zone because that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go with that. whatever they're running, I'm going with.
All right, fair enough. Well, thank you so much, Connie, for joining the BEASTwriter family here on YouTube. We really appreciate the love and support, and we're going to have you on more often. Obviously, I have your contact info now. I'm going to be bothering you all the time now.
Anytime. I love it. As I said, Twitter can be a tough place, or with people. But I have found people to be so wonderful, and whether it's Jets, Twitter, or football, I've been, as I said, really blessed with the kind of people that the way they've treated me. Meeting people like you, it's just been it's really been a wonderful experience. It really has.
You're awesome. And where can people find? Actually, don't you have a few books that are out?
I have a book that was written on my life that came out after my son made my website at Connie Scouts, which is still in there. At Connie Scouts. I'm at Connie Scouts on Facebook, at Connie Scouts on Twitter, and on Instagram. And then the book is called X's and O's Don't Mean I Love You. And this girl is Elizabeth Heineke. It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. What's it called? What's the book called again?
X's and O's. I'll show you right here.
Okay. Yeah, show us the book. X's and O's.
Don't Mean I Love You.
Oh, that's cool. All right, I'll definitely pick up that book. I'm going to pick up that book.
It's a positive book. It's about my life story, with football. And as I said, I've had, different mentors and different things. So if you're just looking for a little summer pool read.
Oh, no, for sure. No, definitely. You have a lot of knowledge, and I feel like this is a really, really good, and I put it on the ticker for you. So again, if you guys want to check out Connie Scouts, she's on social media at Connie Scouts. Is that correct? Is it Scouts or Scouts? Okay, Scouts.
Plural.
Okay,
Scouts.
Perfect. X's and O's Don't Mean I Love You. That's her book. And Connie, thank you so much again for hopping on the show. You've been wonderful. I mean, this has been
thanks, Ryan. Awesome. I've enjoyed it.
I love talking football, but aside from that, I like peeling back layers of the onion to get to the core. Talk about the scouting process, because again, when everything's in hindsight, everyone's like, oh yeah, we should have drafted this player. But no, a lot of this time is in real. A lot of stuff that we have to predict is in real time. I always say our job is to project and predict. It's the player's job to perform. The players don't like it, play better, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, that's how credibility comes into play. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm not afraid to put, my analysis or evaluations on the line, because at the end of the day, if you're more right than wrong, like you said, if you're 55% or higher, you're in the green. You're in
really good shape. You get an idea after you watch for a while, because there's so much more now, as I said, that you can choose from that you couldn't even back in my early days. So it was there wasn't a heck of a lot to go by. So I don't even know what
it was just tough. It must have been tough for you, because at the end of the day, it's like, because there was no social media. It's almost like, how did you find it?
It was Street and Smith magazine that would write up about all the players. Bob Hope, he was a very famous comedian, he would have the All-American football team on each year. And then also the one game a week, Keith Jackson was the announcer, and on ABC, you always had a game. So I always watched it. A lot of times it would be with Walt Michaels or different people from the Jets. And watching those games, you didn't get to see everybody. I mean, small little schools or not. But that's how I just kind of made the Mad Stork from University of Miami was my first guy. Then I took Ron Yari, who ended up in the Hall of Fame. He did great as my first pick in 2000. I'm sorry, in 19. Oh, I forget what 65 or something. And then my second pick was Garrett Ford from West Virginia, but he didn't make it. So I said, well, okay, I'm 1 out of 2. So
you do a good job. I mean, but look at you. I mean, you were a really good scout. I mean, obviously, Mark Gaston, he credits you for being the one that brought him.
Yeah, we have a friendship to this day, and he's, he's doing, as I said, he's doing great. He had the cancer, the colon cancer. He's doing really well. Sings in the church choir. He and his wife, wonderful, and I see them all the time, and so he's doing well. I see a lot of the old guys I see at Legends weekends, whether it's whether it's Wesley and whether it's Lance Bell and Buttle and Bruce Harper and Freeman McNeil and all those guys back in those days that I was there, and then I meet a lot of the ones that have come since then.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
awesome. You got a lot of respect. And then there's also an NFL Films documentary. I just want people to know, because people are going to be asking me after the show, where the heck can I find more stuff on Connie Carberg? You're going to be like trending on my social media. I kid you not.
I love it.
Where can people find your NFL Films documentary? I know you put it on Twitter, but for those people who don't have Twitter, where can you find it?
Twitter, right? It's on my pin there. It's also, if you have YouTube, just type in my name, Connie Carberg, or you can go to NFL Films Presents. And mine was called Forever a Jet.
Okay.
And so just type in my name and you'll see it up there.
Yeah, just type in Connie Carberg. She's big time. Just Google her, as people would say. Just Google Connie Carberg, and people will she'll start trending. Thank you so much, Connie. I appreciate the love, and mahalo for hopping onto the show. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was wonderful talking. I enjoyed it so much, Ryan. You take care now. Let's go Jets.
There you go. Go Jets and take flight.
I'll say 49ers for the NFC. That's okay.
All right. Bye, Connie. Take it easy.
Take care.
All right. That was Connie Carberg, everyone. Very, very honored to have her from in here, the BEASTwriter family. It was all about good vibes only here. Rob Banks says, solid contributor to the BEASTwriter family. Yeah, she's awesome. Aron Singh says, how many female scouts are there in the NFL today? That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that, but whoever those scouts are, it'd be cool to have those scouts on as well, because I think it's very important to obviously empower the women, obviously give them a voice, because again, it doesn't matter what sex, what race you are, you have an eye for talent, you have an eye for talent. So these women are actually pioneers. They're changing the game and doing it in a very, very big way. So again, this was a good one. I don't know. Joel Figueroa says, I wish I came here early because I had work today. Peter Moa says, thank you, Beast and Connie, for your time. Great show as always. Yeah, I had a lot of fun times, guys. And again, this is my second live stream I did today. So as you guys know, your boy has to hit the gym. I'll be hitting my chest. I'll be doing a chest workout. And I'll be posting up some clips up on the community page, up on my YouTube channel. So be sure to stay up to date on that. Thank you so much for tuning in. What's up, G? My man, What's up, G was on here. Thank you, What's up, G, for your love and support. As always, you are always a G for doing that. Aron Singh says you should get female coaches on too. Yeah, I will get female everything on. We'll just make it. We should have a show dedicated for just the females. Like, I don't know, Wednesday maybe. Who knows? Maybe Mondays. Time will tell. Time will tell. John Zach says there's 13 NFL scouts. Okay, so there's 13 female NFL scouts right now in the NFL, which is great. There should be more. There should be more. Joel Figueroa says, I'm going to lift some weights too today at 24-hour fit. There you go. All right, guys. So that's going to go ahead and, again, wrap up this podcast. If you like what we had to say and have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Your boy is about to hit the gym right now. And like I said, I'll be doing an upper body workout consisting of my chest gains, working on my bench press, my incline, using the Smith machine, and finishing up with the pec deck and cable flies. Stay tuned for that. Also need to hit my abs. So I do an hour on abs, believe it or not. People say, oh, that's overtraining. Well, not for Beast, not for Beast. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We have some more comments coming in before I go. A guy called Ed said, I did chest yesterday. Aron Singh says, get the Niners cheerleaders. I can probably get some Niners cheerleaders in here. That won't be a problem. You guys must know that I am friends with some of the Gold Rush, Warriors girls, Raider Nation dance team, you name it. That'll be cool if they were on here, huh? You guys would just watch. We don't care about Beast. We just care about the cheerleaders. We can actually put an avatar on BEASTwriter and just show BEASTwriter's friends on here and be on our way. No, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Well, all right, guys. Again, I got to hit the gym because obviously you guys know how it goes. if I don't get my gym gains in, I can't maintain this look, and I need to maintain this look. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.